hell. So it's very, very fiery. But at the same time, Jupiter enters into the sign of Aries, the first breath, the world stage, the world axis. So that means whatever is there is going to be amplified. It will be a time for action, for great, great decisions, important, impactful world decisions. And this will also be the time when the true uprising will start, because Jupiter can represent not just the faith, but it is also justice and truth. Yes, the subjective kind of justice, but ultimately isn't anything in existence subjective if we look at it like that. So that is why actually Jupiter, as subjective as he is still the king of the gods. And when the king of the gods activates the world stage, the world axis basically, Aries, the sign of the warrior, the sign of action, the sign where things are actually born. And when Jupiter bursts something in Aries, so just think back on all the big things that you have started or were started for you, or that you managed to experience and live 12 years ago. When Jupiter made the same movement, it left Pisces and entered Aries. So it will be a powerful moment. And also at the time of the eclipse, Jupiter will be in Aries. So that means it is that much more intense on the world stage public. The public expression is that much more highlighted here. So maybe whatever happens in our small individual journeys and lives is gonna be not as big, not as impressive, not as shocking, not as unsettling as what will happen on the world stage. And speaking about Jupiter, well, Jupiter is going to enter Aries, and as it progresses slowly but surely towards 8 degrees or 9 degrees of Aries, if I'm not mistaken. I, I, I researched this, but I don't have my notes with me. And it will hold a square to Venus, and it will also hold a trine to the Sun. And after, Jupiter will start its retrograde, and Jupiter retrograde is 28th of July, and it will last until 23rd of November. And in that moment, Jupiter will go back on its path, and on, I should have, just a moment, I should have this on my, so in early November, it will retrograde out of Aries and go back to the 29th degree position of the sign of Pisces. So if we pay close attention to whatever happens right now in our lives, including all of next week, chances are there might be a completion, a repeat, or a readjustment or something built on it, a continuation, as Jupiter gets back into this position, into this degree, as I said, 6th of November, the early days of November. What will happen there? And also this week, there is Mercury, as it went retrograde, it already holds a sextile with this Jupiter. Jupiter just left the sign of Pisces. It started its next journey in Aries, and it is already holding a sextile with Mercury retrograde. As I said, Mercury retrograde, So Jupiter in Aries wants to start something. It wants to birth something new, right? And we have this Mercury retrograde. So that means your connections. That means going over basically who it is that you want to include in that new phase of your life, new project, new start, new relation, whatever that may be. And it can also be a new attitude, a new action, a new change of how you basically interact with the world. Aries does embody the first house, the ascendant. So it is projected onto the 7th house, the others, all of the partners, of Aries, so the hero in astrology, so to speak. So there is already a very strong interconnection. So whatever might happen in your life, Jupiter in the sign of Aries, whatever might be starting there, it has to one way or another, even passively, even indirectly, include other people. So this is how things can be very, very interwoven, because all it takes is one massive new beginning of one person, and that one person might pull with themselves family, friends, neighbors. Everyone has a barber, everyone has a hairdresser, everyone has this and that, a mystic, an astrologer, someone who sells this and that. So a person has a lot of people connected to them, and a leap, a new beginning, a blessing. Jupiter, after all, a blessing, it has to be a blessing, for one person can very quickly echo through all of their relationships. Including 7th house, it rules your open declared enemies. That's also part of the 7th house. And a massive good fortune or good beginning, something really, really good action oriented happening to you, can also be a very positive thing for your enemies. You leave them alone. You focus on yourself, on your life, on your adventure, whatever you're beginning, and you leave your enemies alone. That's already something truly positive. So you see, this can very, very well be something really, really good individually. And it does bless anything that we do need in our lives to begin anew, to assert ourselves. And assertion doesn't necessarily have to be something doomy and gloomy or battle or conflict. It can be asserting our ideological belief, asserting what we want to do with our skills and talents, asserting ourselves in a competition, an exam. Isn't that something truly positive? Should we not actually assert ourselves at an exam to prove ourselves, to show what we're capable of? And Saturn, if we studied, if we learned, well, then it is our greatest duty to go to that exam and take it, prove ourselves. So it can be really, really positive. However, on the world stage, well, I do believe that whatever is going to be out there, Jupiter will just amplify it, magnify it, turn it into great, great excess of whatever that is. And Aries is very rebellious. Aries is very, very self-righteous. Aries is the freedom fighter, the rebel, the revolutionary. So this will definitely spark spirits, and this will definitely cause some action in the name of justice. Jupiter, as I said, rules justice, rules the law, rules legislation and action. And the opposite sign of Aries is Libra. That is when the sentence is given. But before the sentence is given, one has to be held accountable. The process of justice. That can be something that plays out on the world stage. And as I said, at the very end of the week, that's when the eclipse kicks in. I'm not saying that something shocking and is gonna happen spot on the 15th or 16th, but to the end of May, it will happen. We might be feeling a lot of emotional intensity towards the very, very end because of the eclipse, full moon, and Scorpio. So everything, our fears, our insecurities, everything that makes us wishy-washy, vulnerable, victim, you know it. Depressive, melancholy, the past, good and bad. Because even the good memories feel like salt on wound. Why can't I be as happy as I was 10 years ago, my childhood, whatever? So we have to prepare for this. We have to be aware that eclipse is going to be very, very heavy. It will trigger us. It will trigger our most impulsive selves. It will trigger very, very strong emotional reaction for a lot of people. Let's just be honest. Scorpio, eclipse, moon, with Pluto involved, infidelity. What have you done in the bedroom with who? You know, that kind of thing, where the secret comes out, or other kind of secrets. What's your true sexual preference? Have you been lying to me all these years? This will 1,000,000% be part of some people's experience, because this is the scorpionic expression. But, you know, this can also happen in a very severe manner on the world stage. Sexual crime secrets, secrets of the church, secrets of the rich and powerful. I think I said enough. And of course, there can be, for some people, the big decision, depending on which part of your sky this is taking place in. That big decision, the divorce, I'm leaving you, or someone leaves us. The pet leaves us. The family member leaves us. Because nature is designed to be that way. This can be such an expression of this energy, but it is healing, it is regenerative. This is like a purge. So we have to be wise, and we have to basically embody everything that spirituality taught us until now. Let's not judge this by the looks. Of course, when the sewage explodes and it leaves a mess, I'm not asking anyone to be joyous for this, but we can already see the positive side, the cleaning, that it's not blocked anymore, that we can handle the problem, we are aware, we can prevent this, and we have power over it. This is a really, really good energy ultimately, because we can stay away from the sewage. We see it happening, but chances are it's not gonna happen in our own personal backyard. And if it happens in our own personal backyard, then it's in every single living being's own personal backyard on the planet. It's that if it covers one person, it covers everyone. So we're together in this eclipse. We're literally together. So whatever happens collectively is the collective side, so to speak. We have to be rather childish and just not take responsibility only when we're in the collective. When we're not as much part of the collective, then we have no choice but to focus on that which we can do, and that is the eclipse in our individual lives. Whatever it is preparing us to do, whatever it is giving us power over, revelation, truth is power. Whatever it is helping us to alchemize, or whatever it is basically screaming at us to become aware of, like one of the most powerful expressions of this energy is emotional, sentimental, and sexual healing. If the eclipse will scream at you that you're a very beautiful and attractive person, and you should feel so very good about yourself, you would be stupid not to listen to this. Because if a total lunar eclipse is reflecting something positive at you, that's the only moment in life when you should have blind faith. You shouldn't even question it. When the universe is telling you you're beautiful, you should be running, dancing, screaming in the rain, and basically being joyous, because that means the universe has your back undeniably, at least for the next 18 months, so to speak. 18 years. Next 18 months, of course. And the next 18 years, yes. So you should be doing something with whatever virtue the universe is highlighting, that you have it and how beautiful it is about you. This can be a very, very strong and regenerative and transformational energy for a lot of people. So yes, this week is gonna be like that. I really want to give you advices what to do with your business, a bit of financial advice, where things are going, what to do with your creativity. But at a week like this, I have to stick to the philosophy, because the eclipse will not care about our small little lives and our small little problems. This eclipse is meant to show us business. And as I said, the formation that it holds, those speak to me that it will transform us very, very powerfully. And for some people, they're already transformed beyond their wildest dreams. It is this eclipse that will just light that little light bulb to illuminate it. You know, inside the cocoon, where the metamorphosis takes place, it's dark. We're blind. A butterfly needs that eclipse to become aware that, oh, I can fly already. I'm so very different. Sometimes we're not that aware of how much we transformed. To be total, and there's nothing bad about that, because we're subjective. We're going through each and every day, each and every moment, each and every second. We can't see the big picture, not even when our old skin is totally shed off. We're doing and living differently, and we still can't see it. We are still not aware of that. And sometimes it does take a big cosmic mirror to show us that look how different you are already. So stop pretending to be the old self and start doing something crazy, something new, something totally adventurous but specific to the new you. That is what the Jupiter in Aries, maybe not necessarily right now in 2022, because as I said, Jupiter will retrograde out, go back to Pisces a bit, finish its job, and then in 2023 it will start its official visiting through Aries. So maybe not necessarily for everyone 2022 is that period of the blessed new beginning, of the beginner's luck, of the full card moment when you really get into the next adventure and it leads you to somewhere significant. If it's not in 2022, then it's 2023, because everyone has this Aries somewhere in their lives, and that area of life is very susceptible to new beginnings, to new adventures, to the fiery, passionate Aries expression. And Jupiter being there will definitely spark it up. It will renew it. It will amplify the sense of adventure. So for everyone, this will be a period to get out from their shells. And why not for a lot of people, that can start immediately. It can start right away as Jupiter touches Aries next week. So it is going to be a very intense and action-oriented week, both on the world stage, even individually. Let's not hope not conflict, because if there are angry words already on your tongue, if your venom is already in your mouth, well, chances are as Jupiter touches Aries, you will spit it out. So let's hope that there's a detox moment. And remember, Mercury retrograde and in Gemini. Gemini is a very impulsive and in a certain way fiery air sign. Because for example, Aries and Gemini are very good buddies in mischief. Air feeds fire, fire becomes an inferno. Gemini's two of them, so that's already a crowd 3. Aries and 2 twins. As in, an Aries person, a Gemini person, but the Gemini person is with multiple personality disorder as a blessing, as a virtue. So that means a lot of trouble, a lot of fun, a lot of mischief, but also having to pay the price afterwards. So be very careful with angry words, because Mercury retrograde in the sign of Gemini, you can speak so very many things and not even be aware of how you project and how offensive it can get. Not to mention when you're triggered. when you're angered. Jupiter in the sign of head. Gemini is also very much from the head. The impulses come from the head. So be very careful not to spit venom, because Jupiter amplifies it. So the damage is that much bigger. And this is where Jupiter, if Jupiter does it, you won't undo it. So thank you so much for listening. I wish everyone a really, really blessed eclipse. And you know, another thing which I almost forgot to mention, the eclipse Scorpio, Pluto, Mars, of the occult. If there ever is a time which is much more magical and more paranormally active, packed with paranormal, than Halloween itself, and then, you know, Sun being in Scorpio, that will be this eclipse. This is when the paranormal is gonna be at the surface. When I said the sewage, the psychological, the karmic sewage, the secret, the bad deeds, yes, collectively, but the part of the sewage is also energy, paranormal activity, negative energy. If we don't look at it from a very polarized perspective, it is just energy. It's battery. It energizes the earth, the physical earth. So that means that anything spiritual, or at the limit of spiritual, psychological, someone's unconscious projection, someone's manifestation, someone's inner demons, whatever, they are at that moment at the surface as well, as close to us as possible. Negative energy is just a battery for all of these. Negative energy, if we just look at it as a source of energy, that's why I mentioned that it has to be in the earth, because that is what makes sure that it doesn't play out as negative, that it is just a simple energy. Well, it feeds anything spiritual, good or bad. It will feed the healer as well as the... I don't even want to say a bad word. I don't want to label any spiritualist as negative, so I'm not even gonna say it. But as the opposite of the healer, you know? It will feed both of these. So that's why this is a rare opportunity to witness the paranormal. Anyone who's into investigations, anyone who has any kind of curiosity, anyone whose life goal, life dream is to witness or to do something paranormal, well, this is definitely your chance. Get your EVP meters, your cameras with blitz flashes out, and just film in the dark, and chances are you will get a lot of spirit orbs. Ouija board is gonna work, even though, I should not encourage this. Do not use it. I'm not encouraging anyone. I am just speaking about the astrology, that chances are at this time it's much more active and it will work much better than before. So yes, anyone who's into magic, the occult, metaphysical, all of that, this is when you might see and experience and witness the most intense peaks of this activity, of not just this year, maybe even this decade, to be totally honest with you. So with this being said, thank you so much for listening, and really I wish you a lot of wisdom and personal power at this eclipse. Use it wisely. If you'd like to support me and my work and everything that I do, you can donate in the PayPal link in the description of the video below. So until next time, bye for now.